Shoot. What time is it? Are we running out?
It is 10 after 11. You probably...
No,
the tape probably quit.
The red light is still on. That's what I was worried about. How much time, how much card is left.
Thankfully, the tape probably ran out about the time I was telling that long story about Kathy Smith, which you probably ought to take out.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to go. I'm talking with Shelberg later today. So
I'm pretty sure it was Pete.
Cool. I think that's all I've got. This is good stuff, but you know what? We're going to have to do this again. Yeah. And we're going to have Lloyd and Hood and whoever else we can get, if I can ever find Donovan. But
well, I'm disappointed that Donovan hasn't called you back.
Yeah, me too.
Donovan, you jerk! Call the man. This is going to be fun.
Terry Danner reminded me. It's Donovan, you idiot. No, it's... Yeah, is it Donovan,
you idiot?
Donovan,
you idiot.
Donovan, you idiot.
I have to tell one quick story.
Okay, do it.
Mike Phillips was, he was a real prankster. And so this one time, we were going to, I think it was the $10,000 winner sticker.
Yeah, when he hit it in Uruguay or
some crazy place. Well, he came in the control room and he goes, yeah, John, I don't want you to talk anymore about the $10,000 sticker giveaway. We've had a problem with that, and we're pulling everything. And he said, I'm bringing Gordy in. He'll be here in the next half hour or so, and he's going to redo all the promos, and we're going to change the contest. And it's like, really? What's it going to be? And he goes, and his very serious face, it's like, well, John, we're going to do an even bigger promotion. It's going to be called the Dead Trout Contest.
Yes. And they did that. That was Donovan's bit for a long time.
Well, but I mean, that was the thing. It was like, well, what is the dead trout thing? And he was so serious that I'm starting to believe it.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we're going to have people tape a dead trout to their antennas of their cars. And we're going to go out in the cash van, and it's going to be your job, John Williams, to go out of the cash van and pull people over
who have a dead trout taped to their antenna. Oh.
And for about a minute, he had me going.
Yeah.
And I... finally I said, really, Mike? And it's like, Williams, you dumbass.
Yeah.
This was a bit.
Speaking of the cash van, any stories? I've got some air check that you're on the air at Christmas and I'm in the cash van with Santa Claus who was wheezing.
Well, the cash van thing, what I really remember was we did it in Spokane at the King, because most people, see, that was what, you never had to go to Spokane to do your penance over in Spokane before you could come to KGW.
No, I did that in 2005.
But anyway, when we'd go out in the cash van and you pull over cars and give them money if they're, listening. But when I got to KGW, it was...
they had...
one of those.
Turn it upside.
Yeah.
One of those on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I got to Portland, it was like, you go out in the cash van and people would find you.
Yeah.
Everybody had a stinking sticker, but the thing about the sticker that I remember that really impressed me so much about the radio station was, and I'm pretty sure it was Dave Hood and Glenn Shannon, because they did a lot of stuff together, but they went out in the cash van and they came up behind a TriMet bus that had a sticker on it. And they pulled it over, and once they actually pulled the stinking bus over, and they went on the bus and they gave like $62 to
tons
everybody.
Of people. Yeah.
I mean,
didn't somebody have video of that at one point?
I believe so, and maybe it was a bit.
It was probably staged ahead of time to do, but yeah.
But it was. The promotions were unbelievable.
Yeah.
Other stations were giving away, record albums and stuff, and we were giving away
$1,000.
In fact, and I know we're supposed to be at the end, but it's John Williams. I ramble.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll go until it shuts off, but I just...
The book had just come out, and it was incredibly huge, and I remember... the phones were going nuts, and Dee Sloan, the receptionist, who was the typical, if you ever watch
Mad Men?
Mad Men, yeah, which is a great show, I love it. But anyway, Dee was that era receptionist.
Yeah.
I mean, she was great. But anyway, she came up to Phillips and she goes, "There's some guy named Bryan on the phone, and he is livid. He's cursing at me, and he's telling me, well, KGW just bought another book, and
man.
and he was quacking away, and Michael was the PD at, I believe,
And where I worked at
KPAM,
KPA.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember Phillips. He looked up and he goes, "What's your point?" Of course we
What's
did.
your point? Of course. Okay, time for my story now. When I was going to leave KPAM, and I worked for Michael, and I worked for him for about 5 years with a small break in there. So, and Phillips needed to fire the utility guy at the time. He was a guy that wasn't there that long, but he was like, "Man, okay, I really want you to come." And I left that full-time 7 to midnight job to come part-time at KGW. And so obviously Donovan got me in with Phillips, and we chatted, and it's okay, we'll bring you over here. But man, I could really, I know you want to give 2 weeks notice, but I could really use you like right away, because this guy, I've got to get rid of him. I don't even remember his name, but he was utility right before I came along. And so it's like, I said, well, Mike foams at the mouth. It's just the letter KG. If you get to the W, he's like ready to, he just hated it. And he goes, well, maybe you can give your notice, and here, and he hands me a cart. It's a 62 KGW jingle cart. And he says, I'm not going to ask you to play it or anything like that, but maybe you leave it on the counter in the control room. And it's like, yeah, okay. Because I was so sick of Michael. And so that's exactly what I did. I even said that, hey, I gave my 2 week notice today, blah, blah, blah. I even said that on the air. A friend of mine reminded me that I did that. And Michael hated that part, too. You just disappear. You don't say you're going to leave. Where at KGW, they celebrated people moving on unless they fired him on April 21st, 1989. So I did. I left this KGW jingle on the counter. And the next day, I didn't hear anything. The next day, I show up to work at 5 p.m. And Michael is there. I saw his car, and I went, okay.
I know what's coming.
And it's like, here, come with me. And I don't know, he gave me some speech and blah, blah, blah. Oh, when I said I was leaving, I didn't tell him where I was going. I think by the time I left the KGW jingle there, he might have figured it out. But for a couple of days, I said, well, I really can't tell you where I'm going because, they have to remove somebody, and it's just not fair. And so that made him even madder. So it's just like, you're done. You're out of here. Here's your stuff. Bye. So.
But that, man, talk about a good move.
Oh, it was the greatest move. Mike Phillips is the one that helped turn me from a jock into a personality.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, when I came over, Phillips hired me in '77, and Steve Lloyd actually really helped me get the gig at KGW.
Our friends help us out. Donovan helped
me. That's right. we rely on friends. But Marla and I, Marla had just had our first baby in Spokane. And the baby was late getting here, and remember how Phillips was like adamant about having everything in place when the book started.
Oh yeah.
And this was in October.
Color coordinated in place.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Phillips kept calling me, and it was like, John, you have to come now. You know, I need you on the air. And I was like, well, Mike, my baby hasn't been born yet, and so finally our first child comes, and when you're got the call to go to KGW, it was like, gee, honey, I know we just had a baby, but and I know we have a house that we need to sell, and I know it's just started to snow in Spokane, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we worked everything out, and right after the baby was born, I came to Portland, and Phillips said, look, I know this is really a hardship for you. I'm gonna fly you home every weekend back to Spokane until you guys get settled over here.
Yeah.
And for 2 months, he flew me home every weekend.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the kind of place that cares about you, not just getting you here and then forgetting. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was so cool.
Good place.
Yeah, they never flew me anywhere, but that's okay.